Once our parents departed, an eerie silence enveloped the house. It's just Lena and me now, with 15 days unfolding before us like an endless road, devoid of any markers. She collapsed onto the couch beside me, her bare foot grazing my thigh. At last, she exhaled, relinquishing the facade of an ideal family. I withdrew, feigning indifference. You understand my point, don't you? Her smile radiated with a dazzling display of teeth. Mother's unwavering lectures on the importance of virtue. The weight of my father's disappointed gaze. She extended her hand toward the remote, her fingers brushing against mine, lingering for a heartbeat longer than necessary. On the inaugural night, the tempest unleashed its fury. The power flickered and vanished around the stroke of midnight. Lena stood in my doorway, swathed in a blanket, her eyes shimmering in the beam of the flashlight. May I rest my head here for a while? Thunder fills me with dread. I ought to have refused. Yet there she was, already ascending, her icy feet making contact with my calves. Relax, she whispered, her voice soothing as I felt the tension in my body rise. Only we remain. On the third day, the whiskey made its appearance. Lena poured with abandon, her laughter crescendoing with every glass filled. Do you recall the moment you confronted Tommy Carson for tugging at my hair back in 6th grade? She twirled her beverage with a graceful motion. You have consistently been my shield. Her fingers brushed against my knee. I chose not to reject it. You know, Mia doesn't appreciate you, she murmured, leaning in so close that I could taste the alcohol on her breath. I observe the way she interacts with you. That is not the case. Her lips interrupted me, gentle at first, then demanding. My hands instinctively clasped her waist before I forcefully pushed her away. Lena, my goodness, who will be aware? Her fingers deftly maneuvered at my belt. The tempest howled beyond the walls, yet the only sound that filled my senses was the steady thrum of my heartbeat echoing in my ears. As the first light of dawn crept in, we found ourselves entwined, and in that moment, the weight of guilt struck us like a punch to the stomach. Lena merely stretched the sheet as it slipped down. Stop looking so terrified, she said, her fingers gently tracing my jaw. It is merely the two of us. Mia's call came through as Lena indulged in her shower. Hello, my love, I responded, my voice ringing with an unexpected brightness. You sound strange, Mia remarked. Lena strolled past, her skin glistening with droplets, the towel precariously wrapped around her form. She offered a weary wink. I called out to Mia, my gaze lingering on my sister's exposed shoulders as they faded into the distance of the hallway. The house had never seemed so confined. The morning light bore down like an unyielding interrogation lamp. I reclined, my gaze fixed on the ceiling, as Lena's arm draped possessively over my chest. Her breathing was slow, tranquil, as if we hadn't just broken every barrier that had ever stood between us. I quietly extricated myself from her hold, my bare feet gliding soundlessly over the hardwood floor. The scalding water bit into my skin, yet no cascade could cleanse the memories of last night. Mia's visage danced behind my closed eyelids, her laughter echoing, the way she tucked her hair behind her ear in moments of unease lingering in my mind. The bathroom door let out a soft creak as it swung open. Lena stood by the frame, her bare form illuminated, gazing at me through the misted glass, already slipping away. Her voice held a morning's roughness, laced with amusement. I switched off the water. This must not occur once more. She flung a towel my way, her gaze shadowy and intense. It is too late. Mia made 3 calls before the clock struck noon. I directed each call to voicemail. Lena prepared lunch clad solely in my old college shirt, the hem inching upwards as she stretched to grab the plates. You ought to respond to her, she remarked, as she popped a grape into her mouth. Inform her that you are occupied. I find myself quite occupied at the moment. Occupied with your sister, are you? She chuckled as I sputtered on my water. Unwind. We are enveloped in silence. At precisely 3 p.m., the doorbell chimed, breaking the stillness of the afternoon. Lena arrived ahead of the others, casually leaning against the doorway in that infuriating shirt. Greetings, Mia. As I turned the corner, I caught a glimpse of Mia's expression shifting into one of disappointment. Her gaze flickered from Lena's exposed legs to the mark on my collarbone that had escaped my notice. "I was just dropping off your jacket," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Lena seized it from her grasp. What a delightful sentiment. Mia gazed at me, truly gazed, and in that instant, I witnessed the realization dawn upon her. Her lips parted, then sealed once more. She pivoted on her heel and strode away in silence. Lena nudged the door closed with her hip. "It seems the secret has been revealed." I seized her wrist. "Your actions were intentional." She offered no denial. She leaned in, her free hand gliding over my chest. "No longer must you weave falsehoods." The phone vibrated softly against the countertop. Mia's name illuminated the screen. Lena pressed her lips against mine just as I was about to grasp it. "Choose," she murmured softly against my lips. The incessant ringing of the phone pierced through the silence. I chose not to respond. The voicemail notification seared itself into my screen, a vivid reminder of what awaited me. I found myself unable to lend an ear. Lena hummed in the kitchen, scrambling eggs as if nothing had transpired, as if my entire existence hadn't just crumbled to dust. "Call her back," she said, her gaze fixed elsewhere. I clutched the counter tightly. "What on earth is the matter with you?" At last, she turned her gaze toward me, the spatula hanging loosely from her fingertips. "You will wed that girl, all the while carrying thoughts of me in your mind during your intimate moments with her." A gradual smile emerged. I merely accelerated the process. Suddenly, a foul odor wafted from the eggs. I pushed my way past her and leaned over the toilet, retching in a desperate attempt to expel the contents of my stomach. My phone vibrated once more, but it wasn't Mia reaching out this time. "Mother." Merely reaching out, the message conveyed. "Exhibit kindness." Lena's laughter resonated through the corridor. "Ah, we have been quite well indeed." 7th day. The air was thick with the scent of desire and regret. Lena had embraced the freedom of walking around in her natural state, challenging me to avert my gaze. I ceased to find solace in my own bed and began to seek refuge on the couch instead. She would inevitably accompany me there. On the 9th day, Mia's sister arrived, knocking fiercely on the door until I finally opened it. "She's not eating," Emily spat. Her tears flow endlessly. "What actions did you take?" Lena emerged from behind me, clad once more in my shirt. "He has elevated his status." Emily's complexion drained of color. In that moment, she surged forward. I seized her wrists at the very last moment. "Emily, please refrain. You twisted individuals." She tore herself away, retreating toward her vehicle. "Just wait until your parents find out about this." Lena forcefully shut the door behind her. "My apologies." That evening, she nestled onto my lap as I gazed vacantly at the flickering screen of the television. Eventually, they would uncover the truth, she whispered, pressing down with determination. I seized her hips to bring her to a halt. "This will conclude once Mom and Dad return." Her nails pierced my shoulders with a fierce grip. "Indeed, it does not." The message arrived at the witching hour. 2 a.m. Mia. "I have informed your parents." Lena glanced at the page from behind me and burst into laughter. "Excellent. At this moment, you belong to me completely." I hurled my phone with force against the wall. It broke apart just as all the rest did. Lena simply pressed her lips against the anxiety that lingered on my tongue. "Relax," she murmured softly. "It is merely the two of us." As if that provided any clarity. As if that resolved anything. The house had never seemed so much like a confinement. As the first light of dawn broke, the phone began to ring. Dad's caller ID stared back at me, a silent reproach in its glow. Lena rested peacefully beside me. Her fingers remained entwined in my hair. I allowed it to slip into voicemail. As the clock struck noon, a total of 17 calls had gone unanswered. Mom's messages became more and more desperate. "Please respond to us. What actions have you taken? We are on our way back home now." Lena prepared pancakes as if it were just another ordinary Sunday. She hummed softly while flipping them, the syrup bottle oozing onto the counter. She observed the tremor in your frame without bothering to glance back. I balled my hands into tight fists. Our lives have come to an end. A plate was presented to me by her. Our journeys are only just commencing. The pancakes bore a flavor reminiscent of ash. At precisely 3:17 p.m., Mia's Instagram update appeared, showcasing a photo of her as she boarded a plane. No caption provided.
No tag.
Merely vanished. Lena seized my phone and hurled it into the sink. Farewell and good riddance. As dusk settled, the front door burst open with a resounding crash. Mom lingered in the doorway, her suitcase left forgotten at her feet. Her gaze swept across the vacant liquor bottles, Lena's bare legs resting casually over mine on the couch, the love bites just visible above my collar. Father surged forward, his face a deep shade of purple, brimming with fury. What on earth is happening? Lena gradually lifted herself into an upright position. Father, that single word, oozing with a sense of shadowy victory. Mom emitted a sound reminiscent of a wounded creature. Father's fist struck the wall with such force that it left a crack in the drywall. I found myself balancing on unsteady legs. Allow me to elucidate. Leave now. Father's voice quivered. Both of you. At this moment, Lena elongated her body with the grace of a feline. Very well. Alex and I are set to find a place together. At long last, Mom discovered her voice. Our paths will never cross in conversation again. Lena let out a hearty laugh. She truly laughed. The Uber pulled up quietly. Lena clasped my hand throughout the journey to the motel, her thumb gently drawing circles on my palm. The clerk remained unfazed by our absence of luggage. Room 214 was permeated by the sharp scent of bleach mingling with the lingering odor of stale cigarettes. Lena pressed me down onto the rough comforter, positioning herself over me. Do you see? Her lips brushed softly against my temple. I mentioned it would only be the two of us. I fixated on the water stain adorning the ceiling as she deftly unfastened my belt. In a distant place, Mia was embarking on a new beginning. My parents mourned the presence of living children. Lena pressed her lips against mine, drawing my attention with a gentle yet insistent bite. Say it, she commanded. The words lingered on the tongue, bitter and toxic. Only we remain. Her smile brushed softly against my lips. The bed springs emitted a soft creak. In the stillness of the night, a car alarm pierced the air with its relentless wail. Neither of us found rest.